Just a quick note before the video starts. This was filmed back in mid-November. At that time, the official release date for this movie was mid-December 2025. That has since been changed to early January, so please keep that in mind as you watch the video. I don't care what it says, I'm pulling a better man on this one. What that means is this movie, My Neighbor Adolf, was actually released in 2022 in other countries, a couple other countries at least, but it's not getting its official US release until December 19th of this year. So I am counting it as a 2025 movie because it is going to go on one of my lists, and that list is Best of 2025. I enjoyed the heck out of this film, and I was not expecting that. It's such a quiet little movie. Let me tell you a little bit about the film. It stars Udo Kier and David Hayman. I don't know if I've seen him in anything before, but his face looks very familiar. He actually reminds me a little bit of Mark Rylance, even though I know it's not him. Anyway, I requested a screener for it when I saw an email coming through about it, and the folks in charge of the screener were kind enough to give me access to it. And the reason I requested the screener is because I was interested in the concept. I figured I would like it. I did not realize how much I would like it. I love when that happens. When I watch a film and it catches me completely by surprise. The basic premise is, well, it starts in 1934. There's this little prologue-y scene of this Jewish family and just a day that they're spending in the yard or whatever, messing around with the camera. They take this photo of the whole family and you get a little bit of a feel for the family dynamic and the main character, he likes cameras. And then it stops and we have a time jump to May of 1960. So the war is over and you see that there's only one family member left, and that is the father, the one who likes cameras. He's living in Colombia and the Israelis have just kidnapped Adolf Eichmann. So that's kind of a setup for what happens after that. Obviously, it kind of feeds into his mindset because he sees the headline. A new neighbor moves in and the main character, I forgot his first name. It starts with an M, but his last name was Polsky. This new neighbor moves in, and Polsky's a little agitated by that to begin with because he likes living his quiet, solitary little life, tending to this bush of black roses that was clearly, well, it seemed to me that it was a leftover, a remnant of his past, because in the prologue, it shows his wife, I believe, or someone from his family tending to these black roses, and she says that they're her favorite. So he has this black rose bush in his yard. He tends to it, and you can tell that he has an immense level of sadness, obviously, because of what his family has been through. And then his life gets disrupted. His quiet, solitary life gets disrupted when this neighbor moves in right next door. It's just two houses in this countryside place. I mean, there's not many people around. And the guy moves in next door. He's got this big bushy beard. He walks around with no matter what time of day it is. I think that was kind of what was going on in the beginning. He has this German Shepherd dog who's just a nuisance. The protagonist does not like him, but he kind of keeps an eye on his neighbor because, you know, like, who is this guy? And he starts to develop the suspicion that his neighbor is Adolf Hitler, that Hitler has escaped and he has come here to live, like what happened with a lot of Nazis back in the day. And he starts to spy on him. It kind of gave me a little bit of Rear Window vibes because he was like spying on him. He gets this camera and he's looking with his telescopic lens at the goings on next door. And the evidence that this guy is Hitler starts to add up. And in the midst of all that, he does have some interactions with this guy. And the guy's very standoffish. He comes across as borderline rude. But Polsky's kind of rude himself. He's pretty hostile to his neighbor. I mean, it's understandable given his suspicions. It's like a black comedy. I didn't expect it to be as funny and yet at the same time as heartbreaking and touching as it ended up being. Udo himself describes this as a tragic comedy, and I think that's a great way to label this film. A tragic comedy, because you have such depth of sorrow within this protagonist, and it's very clear, but you can see he wears it on his face when he looks at the rose bush. You can see the immense grief in his eyes is so effectively done. Along with this comedy, you have this borderline horrifying tension that keeps the viewer guessing. Maybe horrifying is a little bit of a strong word, but given the situation, it's a little horrifying to think of the possibility that this might be Hitler right next to me, the man who destroyed my whole family. It kept me guessing from beginning to end. I really like that because the whole time I'm watching it, as this evidence is mounting up against the neighbor, I'm thinking to myself, is he? Oh, wow, he's got like all these traits and it fits because the guy's researching Hitler and everything. I'm like, no, he's not. Oh, but he might be. No, yeah, but what if he is? And this was obviously what was going on in the main character's mind. He goes and seeks help from the Israeli embassy to try to get them to do something about it. Nobody believes him. So it just sets up this very interesting situation. And while all this is going on and his suspicions are deepening, at the same time, he starts to develop this odd sort of friendship with his neighbor. It's kind of coming from the perspective of he's trying to find out more, but at the same time, you can see that there is something about his neighbor that is touching something within him. Like they have a bond. They both seem to be pretty lonely and haunted by their past. And the game of chess becomes something that they share together, this pastime that they have with each other. It's kind of combative, but then it becomes almost like a bonding time that they have with each other. Their dynamic over the game is funny to me. And I really appreciated the surprisingly humanizing moments between these two men that complicate your expectation as a viewer, because you really don't know what's going on, and neither does the main character, and he's going through these internal struggles himself. And the neighbor he suspects of being Adolf has moments that make you question the suspicions of the protagonist. And I thought that was carried off so effectively. I don't want to tell you a whole lot of specifics about the story because I would like you to appreciate it as uninformed as possible, beyond what I've already been telling you, which you can kind of see for yourself if you read a synopsis of it. And while I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, how is this going to end? And is it going to end in a satisfying way? Is it going to end in a way that tracks? Or am I going to be annoyed at what happens? And refreshingly, I felt that the ending was perfect. It was bittersweet, but extremely satisfying. And to me, it feels like the only ending that made emotional and narrative sense, given everything that had transpired up until that point. I immediately went to Critic Lists and Letterboxd and Rotten Tomatoes, and I put in a 5 out of 5 score for this film. And it is definitely going to be in my list of favorites. I may adjust my score at some point down a notch, but it won't be by much. Sometimes once I think about a film a little bit more, I make adjustments, but this is not going to really come down. Hold on, there's my dog. Come on, Chip. Sometimes I adjust my score once I think about a film, mull it over a little bit, maybe rewatch it. It'll get adjusted a little bit. But this film will not suffer much at all in that regard. I thought this was fantastic. It was not very long. It's only about 96 minutes. Credits add about 7 or 8 minutes at the end. So viewing time is really less than 90 minutes. It's paced very well. You have a really good grasp of each character. Obviously, for the protagonist, you have a pretty good grasp on him, but as things develop, as the story progresses, you find out more and more about each one, and you begin to develop a stronger connection with them because of that, so that by the time it's done, it really doesn't feel like it's something that was too long or too rushed. I felt it was just right. There's a lot of movies that suffer from being too rushed or too long. So when there is one that comes along and it's perfectly paced, I mean, to me, obviously, if you guys watch it, you may feel differently, but to me, I felt that it was perfectly paced. I felt that the balance between the comedy and the heartbreak, all these emotions going on within these characters, especially the protagonist, I felt it was balanced perfectly. I found myself chuckling out loud multiple times, and sometimes it was a scene that was horrible, stuff that was happening that on its face wouldn't be funny, but given the situation and what had led up to that point, it was actually funny. Maybe you'll know what I'm talking about when you watch it, or maybe you'll watch it and you won't find anything funny about it, but I enjoyed the heck out of this film, so I wanted to talk about it with you guys, get it on your radar when it comes out. I don't know how wide of a release this is going to get. I just saw a release date December 19th, but I'm not sure if it's going to hit the big screen or streaming or whatever, but I at least wanted to tell you guys about it and share my thoughts that it's definitely worth watching, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, because I really don't have anything negative to say about this film. I was very surprised to see the official critics' Rotten Tomatoes score for this because I thought it was so well done, but maybe that's just me. Okay, that's all I have to say for now about My Neighbor Adolf. If you guys check it out, please let me know what you think. I hope you like it. Okay, that's it for now. Bye.